What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day today. So today, I think I recorded a video previously. This is my second video. We're going on about an hour of recording right now. But anyway, with that being said, today we're going to be doing some more Madden 23 content for franchise mode. I feel like this is probably something that hasn't been discussed a whole lot within, I guess, YouTube or Madden. But it's just kind of like how finances and like how owner mode works in Madden 23. I want to show you guys like how you become an owner and just kind of walk you through everything that you need to know about Madden 23 because it's not exactly shown a lot. Obviously, I've done gameplay and XP sliders, but there aren't many videos on owner mode, and like obviously it hasn't changed a whole lot, but there's some new aspects. Please do hit that thumbs up button. I have no idea how this is going to do, so please do make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Comment down below if you enjoy the content, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, if not sooner. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like the type of content. Check the channel and check out my social media. I do use TikTok a pretty good amount. So yeah. Anyway, with that being said, we're gonna get into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy. So we're gonna go ahead and try to make this as raw as possible. I'm not signed into EA right now, so this is gonna be very interesting. But what you want to do is use pretty much just press, create a franchise. It doesn't really matter if you do online, you can play multiplayer. If you do offline, pretty sure the loading screens aren't going to go as fast. But it's pretty much the same experience, just no multiplayer and slower if you go offline. Choose whatever roster you want. I'm just going to use the active roster. Oh, actually, it looks like the loading screen is way faster offline. That's interesting. And then, as you see here, just choose whatever team you want. I'm using my 2023 NFL rosters. We're going to use the Giants because I love my New York Giants. And first thing you want to do, obviously you can choose all of this. We're just going to go ahead and go to the regular season. Pretty sure, no, we're actually going to stick with the preseason. But you can go ahead and change your role. If you want to change your role. Yeah, player, you're already a head coach, so you only have player and owner. As you see here, it says owners manage the financial aspect of the team, make stadium decisions, and still sign, draft, and trade players. Pretty much you have player, which is the most limited. You just play as a player. You don't have any control other than just as your one player. You have head coach, which is you have control of all the players, signing players, trading for players, but you don't have to deal with the financial aspect. Owner mode is everything. So if you want the most challenging part of Madden 23, it's owner mode. You get to manage and coach the team, rebuild the stadium, or you can choose to relocate. Owner mode is the only mode you can choose in order to relocate. You can set prices for everything that you sell, and you get feedback from your advisors. Now, if there's anything that EA needs to work on with this, it is the feedback. It's absolutely terrible. I'm not gonna lie. They haven't changed it since probably Madden 14. It's been near 10 years since they've changed it, and it's just kind of old at this point. But we're gonna go and choose owner nonetheless. And then you have these options: a former player, lifelong fan, or a financial mogul. If you want to have the easiest amount, there's a new aspect within owner mode called, it's not new, but like if for an owner, it's something new that you don't experience when you're a head coach, and that is the funds. Funds are used for signing bonuses with your players and contracts. It doesn't affect the cap, but it does affect the signing bonuses. So ideally, it's a good idea to go with financial. If you want a bit of a challenge, and if you're experienced with this, then either go with lifelong fan or former player. Doesn't really matter. From my experience, like with these two, you do start with 200 million funds versus this one, which is 300 million. I'm just gonna go with the top number. You could choose like whatever name you want. We're just gonna be new owner for now. And then obviously go through all of your league settings. If you've been through Madden before, you already know what to do. But if you haven't, and this is your first time, you can change all of this type of stuff. You can make the quarter length different, Excel clock off. You can do arcade simulation, which is just the style of play if you want it to be crazy, realistic or not. What I always do is just turn off the pop-up tutorials. We don't need it. I don't need it. I can show you guys what to do. I don't really need Brandon Godden or Charles Davis telling me what to do. So once everything is set in your franchise, press start playing. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and get into the preseason. So the only things that you really need to worry about as an owner is the cap, the funds that you have. As you see here, we're starting at 300 million, and then also just managing the roster. Obviously here we have a 75-man roster. It changes depending on like if you want how like big you want your franchise. Once you get into the regular season, it's usually like 53, 54-man roster or 52. But you have this new tab here. It's called Manage Team. Now in Manage Team, you have all these different types of things, and I went through this on the Commanders franchise. But you have stadium, team value, finances, marketing, fan happiness, and then the team success. So, I guess when it comes to actual franchise mode, the actual important things is going to be marketing. You always want to be checking your marketing for the player marketing. This is going to pretty much determine, like, like when you sell jerseys, what pricing you should have for certain, like, players. What, like, how much you should sell a Saquon Barkley jersey for, or a Daniel Jones jersey. And it's all going to be based off the popularity. So personality and popularity are very, very important. Popularity is like, if it's a 92, it's really, really good. Because it's like 92% popular. You were like, 8% for being the most popular in the NFL. We're at 92%. Daniel Jones is 84% popular. So obviously Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, Darren Waller, those are the type of guys that we want to be selling jerseys for, because those are the most popular. Now, if we were to go to like top 10, number 1, number 99, we have Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. He's like 99 popularity. Aaron Rodgers, 99 popularity. Russell Wilson, debatably 99 popularity. According to the NFL, this is actually pretty realistic, right behind the juggernaut Dallas Cowboys and their fan base. But yeah, so like this is just the popularity. It's very interesting. Then you have the team popularity. Obviously, if you're doing really well, depending on how successful you are, is how popular your team will be. So let's just say you're undefeated the entire season. You should have number 1 popularity. Fan happiness should be number 1. And then the media relations. Obviously, this is where you're going to get all your media questions. Once you answer them, they should pop up here. Recent success. Honestly, from what my experience, it doesn't really matter on like the media questions don't really matter. It's like, hey, it'll give you 5% chance of like signing a better or player bet, or like minus 5% chance of signing a player. From my experience, it doesn't matter. It's like the salary cap system and the media questions. It's just so out of date. Like EA just needs to fix it. So it's like it's a very important part, but I think the second most important part about your actual team is actually dealing with the finances. So when you talk about finances, obviously it's tickets, merchandise, concessions, and then team revenue. Team revenue, just to cover it first of all, this is how much you're actually having come into your team, and then how much you're spending on like players, staffing, which I don't even know if you're spending any money on staffing anymore because they changed the coaching staff. So you don't really have to sign them for any money from what I know. I think it might charge you just like $5 million, but you don't like choose their salary, which is just kind of weird. But like this is all you need to really look at and just see like, okay, are we making enough money or are we losing more money than we're actually making? If that's the case, you gotta change some things up. And in order to change some things up, you need to change the ticket prices and merchandise. Concessions, that'll come next. But right now we need to talk about the tickets. So the tickets, you're gonna have things like good value, poor value, terrible value, decent value, as you see here for the current price, fan feedback. And you also do get feedback from fans. So like you have the Giant letdown, at Giants tickets aren't bad for the club section. Like these are just like little pointers that you get when it comes to actual franchise mode of like, hey, you should take the pricing down a little bit because I'm not going to pay for it, so why should anybody else do? And this is your fan base talking to you. This is where you can get the most amount. So obviously here we have good value, but let's just say, your team's doing really well. If you have good value, you can push it up a couple to like 600, 625. But if it's like bad value, your pricing is bad value means that it's too expensive. Which means you just need to lower it down to like, 500, 475. And same with the club tickets and the upper level. So I think the upper level are obviously the cheapest because it's the worst view for the fans. Typically I like having all of these at, like decently cheap to start off with. And then as the seasons go on and as you start to develop your team and make them perform better, you'll be able to actually start selling more tickets because people actually want to come see you play games because you're doing well. Besides that, we have merchandise, much like what I was talking about with Saquon Barkley here. These like decent value, as you see, you want to lower that a little bit. Decent value. When you win a Super Bowl, you're allowed to sell these stuff, or allowed to sell this stuff. Until you win a Super Bowl, this is not an option. It does help with the actual revenue, because it goes into your funds. All of this goes into your funds. It doesn't go into the salary cap. It goes into the funds. So the more money you make from this, like week on week, the better your funds are going to be, and the higher likelihood that, you know, a player who wants a contract and like wants a bonus, the higher likelihood you are to sign them because you have that money to give them an extra bonus. Now, I think here, if I'm going here, the jersey, Saquon Barkley, as you see, decent value. He's a really good player, so like right now we're at $110. Maybe lower it to 90. He's really popular, so the jerseys are going to still sell, so just lower it just a couple notches. Now, if it's somebody like, you know, Daniel Jones, who's not as popular, obviously, make those jerseys cheap. Like, even if you have a backup quarterback, such as like, I don't know, let's just say Geno Smith when he was a backup, you can sell his jerseys if he's like really popular. You could put a little bit of a price on that. It makes it very interesting because in free agency, if you sign like an old veteran who might not be a starter at this point, but is still on your roster, he's going to pop up here and he's still going to be very popular because he's like a possible Hall of Famer. And you can sell a pretty good amount of jerseys for that. So it just adds another dynamic to franchise mode. You have Landon Collins here, Darren Waller. Then we have our punter. So like, yeah, I mean, all decent value. Pretty much right when you get into franchise mode, you want to change all of these. It makes it way easier on you. Now, the last thing here is concessions. If you have a new stadium, it's going to vary between what types of concessions you're going to have or you're not going to have. Now, obviously, if you choose like the upper like level stadiums to start off with, such as like the deluxe, like the deluxe default stadium, deluxe futuristic, those are going to have probably like 3-star, maybe 4-star. They won't have 5-star, but they're going to have like 3-star or 4-star. If you go with the default stadium, that's not deluxe, you're going to have the basic 2-star and maybe 3-star. Just off the top of my head. And these are the things that you need to look out for, because obviously these are only going to be selling when you have a home game. And so you want to obviously make these like good value. Good value is like the sweet spot. As you see, decent value isn't great. It's not terrible. You're not going to make a ton of money with decent value. So you're just lowering them down. Typically, like just pretty much with all of these two are the sweet spot. And as you go up, it's going to start to get more pricey. As you see, you're going to have comments of like, wow, this burger is really expensive. This burger is really cheap. Why is it this price? Like, don't always take the people's feedback as like, oh, I need to lower it. But take it into consideration if you're not making the amount of money that that you should be making. With the 4-star and 5-star, that's when you really kind of want to get into it and start pricing higher, because it's like, you know, better quality food should price higher, make it good value, maybe decent value, but you know, don't go too crazy with it because you most likely will end up going broke with no funds. And like, it should significantly improve your team revenue. Primarily when you negotiate with players, you will lose money immediately after you sign with them. Personally, me, what I like to do is I like to wait till the end of the season to deal with my funds, because that way I'm continuously making money throughout the season, and then I'm able to actually pay my players without stressing about like, hey, like we had this home game, we made this money, but then I signed a player week 2, and like we're playing away. I lost all this money. I lost more than I'm actually making. It just makes it easier if you sign all the players at the end of the season, possibly like week 17, week 18. So you actually have more money to spend on your players. Now, going into the stadium, this is actually pretty important. As you see here, you have your rating, happiness, and size. You've probably seen this with other content creators. It's a pretty good, I guess, thing. Obviously, you can't relocate unless your stadium's awful, your team's not performing. Very specific criteria, but what we can do is upgrade the stadium. And as you see here, we have parking, we have the team store, we have the bathrooms, concessions, and seating. All of those can be upgraded. Now, with all of these, once again, it's not the cap. This is your funds. This is coming straight out of your pocket. So what I like to do is upgrade just a couple of things, maybe upgrade 2 things per season, depending on how much money you have. And just kind of go from there. So obviously with the concessions, we can either choose to renovate it, giving it a better rating, or we can just upgrade it. If we were to upgrade, we both renovate and then upgrade. It's maxed out on concessions. So if we go back to the concessions here, we go to manage team, and then we go to the finances and the concessions. As you're going to see, 5-star is unlocked. What this means, you have the decent value. You can honestly price things a little bit higher than higher than you would actually like maybe do for like a 2-star, 3-star. It's just a nice little feature. I feel like if there's anything to kind of take away from the owner mode is that like it's very, very wonky. As you see here, our funds are already 270 million. Ideally, you don't want to go any lower than 200 million or else you're screwed. Just because like you have to pay a ton of players or you're gonna go broke because those signing bonuses. The best way to kind of avoid going broke, however, is just signing players, giving them try not to boost up the signing bonus as much as you try to boost up their overall just like actual pay using the cap money. We'll go into that in a second. The fan happiness, obviously this is just gonna kind of determine how much you're selling, whatnot. The roster ranking, like all these things kind of are taken into consideration. They actually do mean something. Some of the features, like I said, don't work like the media questions as well as they should, and they need to be updated like badly. But I mean, something to kind of gauge for. Now, I feel like the last thing when it comes to owner mode, and you can see this as a head coach too, is just the team salaries. What this is going to do, and the numbers, the math doesn't math when you look at like the cap, but it works. And the great thing about Madden 2023 is that the cap actually rolls over into next season. So as you see here, it's 2023 cap. We had only 10K roll over from 2021 to 2022. You don't want that. Like, if you can, try to sign players, but you also want to make sure you're keeping up with your money. So, I see here, like, we have, this is pretty much the length on Dexter Lawrence, like in all your players. You can see the length on them, the total length, how many years they have remaining, the bonuses. Ideally, you want to try to pay them better contract money than bonuses. The idea why I'm just kind of showing you this is because it's like, hey, like, you can actually look at like how much cap room you have instead of just trying to guess year per year. And like, no, it's not going to be an actual perfect number. What this does is like, you can see like, okay, this guy's contract is coming up in like 2 years or 3 years, and you can space it out. So if you have a quarterback that you need to pay a ton of money, you can pay him, like, you'll just say like, hey, like, you know, Daniel Jones, he wants his money now. Saquon Bunny, he wants his money now. That way you can like maybe franchise tag Daniel Jones. You know, we signed him, but you could franchise tag Daniel Jones, pay Saquon like 3 years, and then that way you should have a little bit more money to spend next year on Daniel Jones because you've already paid Saquon. He's like going through his contract. It's pretty much just a good way to kind of be strategic when it comes to actually paying your players without going bankrupt with your cap money. A good example of this, you can filter this, years remaining. Let's just go with, I don't know. Sure. Matt Breida, right? So he right now, he's getting paid roughly $2 million. And he's going to be a free agent. When you see these zeros, that means they're going to be a free agent. So he's, you know, going to be a free agent after this season. And you're like, okay, well, like, you know, Daniel Jones' contract's coming up. Do I really want to pay this 72 overall running back money that I could be paying Daniel Jones, who's going to want a lot more money? No, obviously not. So just, you know, let him hit free agency. And it's a good way just to tell, like, okay, like, you know, all these guys are going to be hitting free agency. Who do I want to extend? Who do I not? So I can pay my big players like quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, and somehow defensive tackles. They make a lot of money. Like, hey, if I wasn't doing YouTube and if I wasn't going to college, DT, I want to be a defensive tackle. It's just a really good way of just kind of gauging. And you can also check the other teams to see who's potentially going to be hitting free agency. Obviously, as the season goes on, you're going to be able to see like, oh, like this guy, he got a new contract. Because you'll see like it doesn't say 0. It says like 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, and then 0. If it has zeros after like, I don't know, week 15 maybe, they're probably going to be hitting free agency. And it's the best way that you can actually find out what free agency is going to be looking like for this year. It's a bit tricky. I wish EA had a better method of like showing you like, hey, this is who's going to be hitting free agency, just because like I feel like sometimes franchise mode isn't the most immersive, but like hopefully EA is going to be addressing it in Madden 24. We'll find out. But like, yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and just advance, I don't know, let's advance to the middle of the season here. I'm going to go ahead and just show you the contract situation, because like as I was talking about, like you could either pay a player more cap money or salary bonus money. A guy like Saquon Barkley, as you see here, he wants a total of 55 million, 31 over 5 years with a signing bonus of 24.5 million. And he's very interested in re-signing with us. The best way that you can do this is obviously they've added the new feature with, I guess, signing players where it's like you do neutral, player friendly, very player friendly. You could do team friendly or just a custom offer. Honestly, starting neutral here, maybe this is up to everybody, but player friendly, low risk, this is the best way to go. But let's just say that, like, you know, Saquon Barkley, he's a running back. Running backs don't get paid in the NFL anymore. Like, why would we want Saquon Barkley? Like, we can just find another guy that's going to be just as good as him in round 7 of next year's draft. Like, we're going to try to, like, get Saquon Barkley to be a little bit cheap. So, obviously, you can even take the signing bonus, which is your funds, take that down, and then you can go up on the actual salary and be like, all right, Saquon, like, we'll pay you, like, this amount of money, 62 million, but take down the bonus and be like, hey, are you interested? And oftentimes they'll be like, yes, this is perfect. That way you actually save money in your pocket with the funds and use salary cap. Now, the only disadvantage with it is, like, you see here, like, the 2023 cap room, that's going to go down because you're paying these guys higher salaries versus their signing bonuses. So just keep in mind of that, because if you pay all of your guys, like, higher salaries than bonuses, it's going to hurt you, because then you won't be able to play players, like, down the road when they're more available in, like, week 17 or week 16 that are actually good. It's definitely a balance. So, yeah, I think besides that, I think that's pretty much all you guys need to know about Madden franchise mode. When it comes to the owner mode, as you see here, we have a media question. Jonathan Coachman, commentator. It's been the same guys for like 4 or 5 years. I might be coming out with a wish list video pretty soon for Madden 23. And just things that they need to update with franchise mode. But you can choose any of these. Let's just say that percentage without player, percentage. It just doesn't make sense, because I'm just like, I just signed Saquon Barkley, and now I have to answer this question even though, like, I already signed the guy. It does nothing for me. I don't get it. I don't know. That's just me. Let me know what you guys think. But besides that, I hope you guys did enjoy. No Commanders video this week. That will be coming out next week. They take forever to record, forever to edit. So, and I have a lot going on this week. But I should be recording that video sometime next weekend and having it out after the next weekend. So, hope you guys enjoy. Seems like you guys really like the type of content. I believe the only last thing with owner mode that you really need to take note of is that the scenarios, you're not going to get as many scenarios as you do with as a head coach. You're not going to have those press conferences. Like, that doesn't exist at all with owner mode. I think it's a bit frustrating, but you can't really do anything about it. So if you want to, like, get the scenarios and stuff, go with coach mode. That's why coach mode's better. Owner mode's just, you know, a little bit more things that you can do with it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, owner mode's still a pretty good mode. They just really need to revamp it. But for any of you who had any questions on owner mode and like, hey, like, why am I losing funds? Why am I like, why can't I figure this out? Hopefully this video helped. I know I kind of rambled for a while, but it's a lot of things that kind of need to be talked about. So hope you guys did enjoy. These should be, I made an MLB The Show video. If you guys want to go check it out for Stadium Creator, be my guest. I think it was a pretty good video. But with that being said, hope you guys did enjoy. Please do make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Let us know that you guys like this type of content. Subscribe if you are new, and turn on that bell notification. Keeps you guys updated on the new content that comes out on my channel. And with that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys next time.